So let's face it, procrastination can be a reproductive killer. But what if I told you that there are proven strategies to help you break free from the cycle of delay and get more done in less time? Stick around to find out. In this video, we're going to explore how and why you procrastinate and 5 proven strategies to help you break free from the cycle of procrastination and achieve your goals. Make sure you stick around to the end because I'm going to share with you a secret tool and hack to boost your focus and stay motivated for over 6 hours. To understand procrastination, we need to understand the hormone behind motivation, desire, and pursuit, and that is dopamine. And dopamine is a neuromodulator, which means it changes the activity of your neurons in your brain by increasing the activity or decreasing the activity. You see, dopamine engages 5 circuits in the brain as its primary neuromodulator. And for the sake of this video, we're going to focus on one circuit that uses dopamine as its primary neuromodulator, and that is the mesocortical pathway. The mesocortical pathway projects to the prefrontal cortex, this part in front of your brain. And this part deals with context. Think of it as the part that defines your context, in which is the part that's going to say no, that certain behavior are not allowed, or certain behavior are not allowed in the place you are at. For example, when you're at a workplace, it is part that governs the choices and tells you, oh no, these behaviors are not allowed during the workplace. And when you are having fantasy, or these behaviors are allowed, it's the one that helps you govern the context and also define the context for you so that you can make the decisions. And this part of the brain, it's where all the major choices you're going to make in life are being governed. It's important to note that neither dopamine or the mesocortical circuit cares about any of your specific goals or ambitions. The mesocortical circuit uses dopamine to pursue anything. So what do we mean by this? So it works in a way that, think of dopamine as having a baseline. Dopamine in your brain has a baseline. And this baseline determines how full or empty your dopamine is in your brain, or how full or empty your dopamine levels are in your brain. So to understand this better, think of a pool, a wave pool. The dopamine baseline is that level where the wave pool is at, how full or empty a wave pool is. Now, dopamine has a peak. It's going to rise, and the way it works, where dopamine rises, it's called the peak. It's going to go up, and then when it rises up, it's going to have a time to come back down, and it might come back to the baseline, or it might drop below baseline. And where it drops below baseline is called a trough. And how it increases is directly proportional to how long it's going to take to decrease. So which means the time taken for dopamine to increase is the same time taken for dopamine to decrease. For example, let's say I want a pizza. Me anticipating or me wanting a pizza is going to give the rise in dopamine. Before I even go get a pizza, me just wanting a pizza is going to give a rise in dopamine. And that dopamine is going to rise and it's going to drop. So when it drops below baseline, it's what's going to give me a motivation. It's that feeling I'm going to feel to go and order that pizza, maybe online, or just go to the nearest, pizza store to get a pizza. That drop in baseline, it's what's going to motivate you to go and pursue and get the pizza. And when you get that pizza, depending on how good that pizza is, it might be, it's just a normal pizza. Then it's going to come back to baseline. You're going to feel, I'm satisfied. So I wanted the pizza, I got it. But if that pizza is the best pizza that you've ever had in your life, it's going to give an increase from where the trough was. It's going to give an increase in dopamine, and it's going to exceed baseline, and it's going to give you a new dopamine peak, which means this pizza was very amazing, and that is how this part of the brain uses dopamine to pursue anything. It doesn't care about any of your specific goals. It just uses dopamine to pursue anything. And from this, you've just understood how what happens in your brain or what happens whenever you want something or desire something. And with this in mind, you can now understand better the art of procrastination and the art of motivation and the art of being productive and focused, because it all comes to dopamine and how your dopamine reservoir is and your dopamine baseline, how it is, how full or empty it is. You want your dopamine to be at a steady baseline so that you can feel motivated to do anything, to do any goals, anything you want, and use this knowledge for your own advantage. With everything I've just said, let's explore together 5 strategies to improve your dopamine levels and have a healthy, steady baseline of dopamine to beat down procrastination and stay motivated throughout and pursue goals without having to procrastinate. The first strategy of having a steady dopamine baseline and maintaining motivation and focus to avoid procrastination is having sufficient amount of sleep. You need to sleep at least 8 hours each day and go to sleep specific times each day. So what do I mean by this? What I mean is sleep has 2 phases, what we call rapid eye movement phase and deep sleep. This kind of sleep happen at different times at night. So when you go to sleep, you are first in the rapid eye movement, and the most important phase is the deep sleep phase. Even rapid eye movement phase is important, but for the sake of having your growth hormone produced and having your body, rejuvenate its energy and having you, recover your body and the capability of your body healing itself and your body going through a phase of healing itself, it goes through this phase of deep sleep. That's why you need to have at least 8 hours of sleep each night and go to bed at the same time each night. It's going to help you maintain that steady baseline of dopamine so that you can go through your day when you're focused, when you have improved motivation, so that you won't procrastinate. Now, the second strategy is what is called non-sleep deep rest, or NSDR, or some people call it yoga nidra. So this is kind of different from its word non-sleep deep rest. What you're doing is your body is awake but in a relaxed state. So which means you're conscious but you're kind of sleepy, but you are awake at the same time. You're kind of sleepy but you're conscious. I'll link a YouTube link of this yoga nidra session so that you can try it. It's not meditation, but it's kind of similar to meditation, where your body is in a relaxed state. You are there, but you are there as if you're sleeping, but you are awake. Your body is relaxed and you are in that state. And this has shown to increase your dopamine levels up to 65%. Now, the third strategy is nutrition. So nutrition is very important in every aspect of life, but main importantly, also it's important in this aspect of maintaining drive, motivation, and focus, and also avoiding procrastination. There is an amino acid called tyrosine. This amino acid is a rate-limiting enzyme on production of dopamine. So this amino acid is involved in the production of dopamine, and it's crucial in the production of dopamine. You need to eat food that contain high amounts of tyrosine, this amino acid. So as it's an amino acid, it's contained in most food, in most protein food, meats, cheese, nuts, some vegetables. Also people who take supplements, it's also contained in some whey protein or some protein supplements, because it's an essential amino acid and it helps and also is involved in the production of dopamine in your brain. The first strategy is morning sunlight. You see, sunlight signals a wake-up call to your body through the pituitary gland so that it produces hormones such as cortisol, serotonin, and dopamine. And these increase 50% of these hormones, resulting in elevated mood, focus, and productivity in your day. So you need to expose yourself to the morning sunlight, especially after you wake up. The first thing you wake up, You need to expose yourself to morning sunlight, not artificial light, just the sunlight without the glasses on or like the windows or the curtains. You need to expose yourself to morning sunlight, and you need to do so for 5 to 10 minutes. And you don't need to look through direct to the sun. You can just be there on a bright day or on the sun. Even in a bright day or in the clouds, there's still light, there's still sunlight, even though it's not shining, but there is still that morning sunlight, the brightness you see. You need to spend at least 5 to 10 minutes each day so that you will have an elevated mood, and also increase your productivity and avoid procrastination by leveraging dopamine and have it increased early in the morning so that you can go throughout your day. Now, the fifth strategy and the last one is exercising. You need to exercise at least 5 to 7 days a week, at least 5 days, minimum 5 days a week. What exercise does, it gives you an elevated dopamine levels. It helps you to maintain the dopamine levels in your body. When you exercise, you're elevating your mood, you're elevating your ability to be alert and focused and being sharp. So when you do this at least a minimum of five times a week, you are leveraging dopamine, and you're having a constant motivation and focus drive through leveraging this dopamine. And also through this, you avoid procrastination and you go through the goals and you crush whatever goal you have. You go through life and accomplish what you're going to do without having to procrastinate. Now, if you have watched this far in this video and you're liking the content, give this video a thumbs up. It really helps a lot. And subscribe. It's a free way to support this channel. And comment down below, I've subscribed. I will reply to the comments as soon as possible. Earlier in this video, I mentioned that I'm going to share with you a hack or a secret tool to boost your focus and maintain your drive, mood, and motivation for over 5 hours. Now, here's the hack: cold water exposure. As funny as it sounds, let's first of all understand the philosophy behind the cold water exposure and how it maintains your focus more than help you avoid procrastination. Now, if you recall earlier in the video, I mentioned how dopamine works, the peaks and the troughs of dopamine. So you see, the time it takes to rise and give a peak in dopamine is the same time it's going to take when you go to the trough to rise up again. So that's why, like, if you have a very high peak, the time it will take you to come back to the baseline when the dopamine has dropped below baseline is the same time. But that time is long time. Some people, for example, when they are faced with a task or they have a task to do, they procrastinate and decide to do something else because it seems so easy. That is dopamine doing its work, because you have a dopamine below baseline and you're deciding to do something to get a sense of accomplishment by doing other task that is easy to do than what you're procrastinating about. To move and have dopamine back to baseline, people decide to do two things. As I've just said, some people decide to do something else, or some people decide to wait. And this wait can be a really long time since you come back to the baseline. So people, when they have, for example, a task, they wait to the deadline, and that deadline gives them a boost so that they can work on this thing, and also they get back to the baseline of dopamine and also accomplish this task. But let's say you want to be productive at that time and you want to avoid procrastination as the purpose of this video. The philosophy is, when you are at that trough of dopamine and want to come back to baseline so that you have a sense of accomplishment and attack that task without having to procrastinate, you need to do something that's harder. You need to involve your body into something that's harder. What do I mean by this? I don't mean anything that's harder, like that causes, your harm to your body, like tissue damage or something, or psychological damage. I mean, you need to expose your body to something that is hard, something that you don't want. for example, cold water is for most people. You see, that feeling you feel or involving your body into that uncomfortable situation is what's going to give rise to dopamine back to baseline in a really short time. The time you expose yourself to that condition or that condition that you feel your body doesn't like such as cold water exposure, immediately your dopamine is going to shoot and it's going to come back to baseline. And from then, that act that you felt that you're going to procrastinate is going to seem so easy because you involved your body in an uncomfortable situation. And since you have accomplished that uncomfortable and conquered it, this task or this thing that you procrastinated is going to be easy to accomplish. And some people, it might be, meditation is very hard. But what I mean is meditation is not a key, because some people meditation is easy, some people meditation is hard. If meditation is hard for you, then it can be this thing that gives you the rise in dopamine. You need to go and do that. The thing I need you to take away from this video is you need to go out there and do something that's really, really hard, something that you don't want, and involve your body in that situation. And from then, you're going to get a rise in dopamine back to baseline, and you're going to have increased mood, motivation, and alertness and focus. And it's going to help you achieve your goals by avoiding procrastination and achieving that task that you're going to procrastinate, because you've already conquered a bigger monster, a bigger demon. This demon or this task is going to seem so easy for you, so you're going to accomplish it. If you've reached this far, I'm proud of you. Leave down a comment below on how you found this video, and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. Support the movement. If you're new here, I'm Israel. Welcome to the movement. Remember, true strength lies in self-development and personal growth. Keep striving to be the best version of yourself. Stay blessed.